That was my AI generated spooky Halloween music. And I've got spooky Halloween font for us today. Welcome, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Happy Fireside Hang. Thank you, Ricky, for joining us. So happy that you're here.
You're very welcome. Thanks for inviting me today.
I hope you're feeling spooky.
I'm scared right now.
Good.
No, but happy to be here and talk through stuff and talk to everyone who's watching in. So yeah, please do more.
Awesome. And welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining. I'm going to let Stev drive today and be off to the races. Go for it.
Cool. No, thank you. And thank you, everybody, for joining us on your Wednesday. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night wherever you are. Speaking of the season, too, I got my pumpkin mug with my coffee. But yeah, so I'm going to try sharing my screen just to give you all some insight on the agenda today. Not sure if Lauren, if you're able to, I don't know if we could share my
got you
window.
I got you.
Thank you. And I'm gonna put it in, let's see, slideshow mode. Let's see if you guys work. All right, sweet. So this is the agenda we're going to talk about today, and this is a good opportunity because we had the midnight core call on earlier this week. So we did not have a recording of that one. So if you didn't attend that call, that call is actually great because we're streaming it now. It's going to be recorded. And those of you who missed the core call will have that information on this call today. So the first thing on the agenda is we're going to talk a little bit about scavenger mine. So I know a lot of people have been super excited about this. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. We also we're going to talk about the midnight improvement proposals and one of the call to actions about that, which we discussed in the core call. And then Ricky from Shield is joining us today to talk about more of the midnight environment strategy ahead. And then also give some updates about we have like a master Luma page for events, and then some updates on the contributor hub. So without further ado, I'm going to exit this presentation really quick because I'm still sharing the same window. And yeah, the scavenger mine is live now. So it's pretty awesome. So if you're interested in the scavenger mine and want to participate in this phase of Midnight, that is live right now. So oh yeah, I see stuff. You say, let's go. Yeah, I know a lot of people are seeing this. I don't know if you guys have saw WWE or something, but I just think of that crowd chant where people are like, holy shit. So I know a lot, people are super excited about the scavenger phase, but it's pretty cool. So definitely go in here, read everything, read the TNCs, etc. I've already done that, but it's actually a pretty nice experience. I'm actually going to do it right now. So I click the claim now, and obviously double check that you're on the Midnight GD website because there's a lot of people. You don't want to go on some fake website. So go to midnight.gd, and then it tells you the time. So according to this platform, it starts in 7 hours, and you just do get started. Midnight lease wallet is installed. Continue, authorize. Always cool. And it gets my destination address. Read through the user terms. I've already done that previously, so I'm gonna accept that, and you sign. All done, and then you come to the solving cryptographic challenges part of it, which doesn't start in 7 hours from now. And I'm particularly excited about this because something with the design of Midnight is to be fair and accessible. And I think, as a previous miner, this is super cool to me because back in the day when mining, you needed CLIs, you needed to know your hardware really well and everything. But this is really cool because it's a bit more equitable that people can do this directly in the browser, which is pretty amazing. So I just want to share that Scavenger is live, and obviously that's beginning in 7 hours and 22 minutes from now. And you can see it really is a 3-click process here. Anyways, besides that, let's go back to the Midnight Improvement Proposal process. So I have a little presentation here, and here we go. All right, I believe it's shown now. So, so the goal of this MIPS presentation is show you basically how we can collaborate on the future of Midnight, and to officially ask for your help and feedback on basically our very first proposal, which is MIP1, which is defines the MIP process. Now, what is a Midnight Improvement Proposal? Some of you are probably familiar with other improvement proposal processes and other crypto ecosystems or open source, but it's basically a formal process that describes, describes core changes to the protocol, like whether you're proposing the new features, token standards, and just Midnight design decisions. For example, the current MIP process that we have is actually emulated by Cardano, because Cardano is like super far. I would probably arguably the most far ahead as far as improvement proposals, on-chain governance, etc. One day I think we kind of looked at, I think Cardano is like a North Star as far as governance. But when we're thinking about the Midnight Improvement Proposal process, we just wanted to emulate something that works and something that's battle tested, and Cardano's obviously done that. So when you do explore the MIPS repository and stuff, you might see a lot of things similar to Cardano. And it's also a chance for you to get involved and have some input of where this is all going. So as far as the goals, so basically why we're doing this is very simple. We have transparency. We want the community to participate. We want to make sure that changes are technically sound and peer reviewed. And obviously, it's the MIP process eventually, like just as CIPs or EIPs and other Web3 ecosystems, it becomes basically kind of like the historical record of changes that happen in the network. And obviously, when you have an open source improvement proposal process, it contributes to the decentralization of things so that things are more community driven. All right. And this kind of brings us to the very first proposal, which is MIP1. So, and MIP1 is very special. So it's because it's the proposal that actually defines the entire MIP process. So we're talking about how it outlines categories, different statuses, and the role of editors, and the template that people can use to make a proposal. For example, myself, Eric from Ada Labs, Sebastian, who's a CTO of Midnight, we volunteered as MIP editors, and there's some more as well. But maybe you have experience in processes like these. So this is a great way to contribute to Midnight as well, because there's some people who probably are all about governance and all about proposals. So if that's something that interests you, definitely take a look at MIP1, and maybe you'd consider becoming a MIP editor yourself. Yeah, and this goes to how to give feedback. So it's very simple. So because MIP1 is technically in review, and when we created the repository, we initially emulated a MIP1 from Cardano, from Cardano's version, but it's technically in review, and we really want this is really a call to action for all of you to go see if the process is clear, does it make sense, and does it feel like a good way to collaborate before we finalize the rules of the road, basically. So you can give feedback directly on the repository by going to the MIPS repository and opening an issue, or even going to the Midnight forum, which has a going to the Midnight forum, which has a MIP. It basically has a MIP category. So that's another way to give feedback. For example, during the core call, I was like, yeah, it's very easy to contribute. I actually created an issue. I simply opened an issue, and I'm like, hey, I want to propose an enhancement. I applied the proper label enhancement, and hey, I think this should be. I think the MIPS repository should emulate the static site generation as Cardano improvement proposals. So all you have to do is create an issue, say, hey, I don't like this about MIP1 or etc., or even do that in the forum, and that helps drive some feedback into MIPS. And honestly, if MIPS is going to be driving a lot of things that become realized on chain. So it's contributing to MIPS is a great way to have very direct core impact on the Midnight protocol itself. So cool. Let's go back here. Anyways, that's all I have for MIPS at the moment. So to wrap it up, we've launched MIPS, which is the process to build a transparency and community at its core. And I definitely would love for you all to check out the MIPS repo, give some feedback, open issues, go to the forum, say what you like, don't like. And I believe there are some actual MIP issues that some people have created already. So these are open source. You can have an opinion. You can exercise how you think Midnight should be expressed on chain. So really excited that MIPS is coming along, and maybe next year we'll have a bunch of MIPS that get realized on chain as well. So thank you everyone for thank you everyone for your time on MIPS. And the next thing on the agenda is I'm going to pass it over to Ricky, who's going to tell us about the environment strategy stuff ahead.
Great stuff. Thanks, Dev. I've now seen that twice. Very useful. And I hope it is useful to the community out there in terms of the MIPS process and how they can contribute to what we're building in the future. But I want to talk about the environment strategy. So let me just share my screen and hopefully then share my presentation. And I assume that should share and be on the screen. Wonderful. Thank you very much. So I want to cover off our environment strategy. And the focus today is on SPOs, or Midnight Block Producers, as you may hear them referred to. And I wanted to just share some information up ahead of the sort of official announcements in terms of how we're looking to build upon sort of Testnet 02 as we currently have, and what the environment strategy looks like sort of moving forward. So I'll go through a quick introduction, sort of the pathway to support the journey to Midnight, to mainnet. I'll talk through the environment description, so to give you folks a little bit more detail about that, what the transition pathway looks like, and I'm actually going to cover off some of the core features, so 3 features in total for today, and give you a little bit more detail about what those are. Just so you can get excited about some of the features that you can potentially test in some of your dApps and so on going forward. But like I said, we are establishing a new environment strategy to support that journey to mainnet. And it sort of harks upon the Cardano naming convention, like you will have seen, preview, pre-prod, and then of course mainnet. So in terms of the environment strategy moving forward, we want to talk about Preview Testnet as of today. So as it suggests there, this is going to be a newly established environment, which is going to be public facing. And it's designed to host the latest features of the network. And this is primarily for the community to go ahead and test any sort of dApps that you may be creating, and so forth. But just want to make it super clear to everyone, given that this is a preview testnet, it can be subject to some sort of instability and then potentially chain resets as we deploy new components and various new releases along the way. What I also want to make clear, with the fact that we will have preview testnet available to all very, very soon, is that testnet 02 will be scheduled to be running until the end of 2025. So for those folks who may have seen the original testnet sort of back in, oh goodness, this is October last year, we've had testnet 02 and then the upgrades earlier this year. We transitioned from one network to the other, and we gave you some warning of that case. This time, however, you will see testnet 02 running alongside preview testnet. So it's not a case of when preview is available to all, the next day you must transition or migrate across. You will have plenty of time to be able to make that transition at your leisure. Of course, you need to go through the various different steps as usual, sort of, downloading your dApps onto your local machine, so on and so forth, and making sure that you're using the right components for the new preview. So what that looks like, what I've just said, in terms of the pathway, we're focused at the moment on SPOs, or the Midnight Block Producers, you may hear them referred to. You can see there with testnet 02, that's, like I said, going to continue until the end of the year. We want to make sure that there's plenty of time to make that transition, so we can cover off any difficulties or challenges we may have across the way, and obviously accept any feedback along that pathway as well. But what you can see there, the preview environment will be spun up very, very soon. We are currently deploying many new components on there, and I'll talk about some of those components and features that you'll be able to experiment with in the very near future. But the primary pathway for now is focused on SPOs. And what you can see there is that transition pathway is sort of, we would like it scheduled around the sort of mid-November. And the reason for that is we want to make sure that preview is operating as expected. There's no sort of unexpected downtime that we may see. And we want to ensure that all the various different guides, I know Stev's been working on all the various different guides for SPOs to be able to migrate over quickly and easily. We've learned a lot of lessons from sort of testnet originally, and of course testnet 02 and testnet 02 upgrade, bit of a mouthful. And we want to sort of take those learnings and make sure all the documentation is in a ready state and easy to follow, to make sure that you can do that sort of quite easily moving forward onto preview. While we're suggesting sort of mid-November to sort of start that migration over to preview, you can of course look to do that nearer the end of the year, maybe December or into late December. But we're hoping that all SPOs or Midnight Block Producers on testnet 02, which we're reaching a peak of those numbers right now, which I'm very pleased to see, we'll all be able to transition over to preview quickly and easily. Well, that's the desire, and we hope that's going to be the case moving forward as well. So with that, I want to talk about some of the features to get you folks a little bit more excited about what's coming about. Of course, Steph spoke about scavenger mine, getting night and so forth. And let's touch upon some of those features that we can explore, some of those elements moving forward. So there's 3 core features that I want to talk about today. So the very, very first one, feature 1, night generates dust prototype, or functionality, if you will. So this night generates dust prototype is essentially our first robust implementation of the tokenomics architecture. Hopefully you've read the tokenomics white paper. There's a whole host of information out there that you'll be able to understand more about how night generates dust and all the implementation that sort of is needed to ensure that this is exposed. And so this provides, a foundation for the network's cross-chain partner model, essentially. And in essence, its main function is to provide a reliable, I would say, user-friendly system for managing this dust production on the network using night holdings from the Cardano network. And all while we want to make sure of sort of abstracting away from any of the sort of usual complex cross-chain technical details that you may face. Then on to feature 2. So as you can see there, unshielded assets, infrastructure, and tooling. So what does this encapsulate? Well, these unshielded assets are a type of asset supported on the network, essentially. These have the characteristics of public visibility and external integration capabilities, which are critical for those sorts of compliance and what would you call it, transparency type use cases. So this particular release provides the infrastructure and tooling to essentially enable wallet builders and dApp developers to build with 2 types of unshielded assets. So examples of that would be, well, first of all, Knight, the native token or the native ledger defined token, if you will. And then we have the Midnight native tokens, which I suppose you can essentially refer to as mints. These are the custom ledger defined tokens akin to Cardano native assets. So that's feature 2. And then finally, feature 3, much in the same vein, we have the shielded assets infrastructure and tooling as well. So these shielded assets are a type of asset with characteristics of privacy and data protection. These are essentially critical for those use cases that require guarding sensitive data, be that business or even sort of proprietary data. And a couple of examples of this is, first of all, Dust. So the native capacity resource, as we're calling it, the one powering the network, which is native ledger defined. And then we have custom ledger defined tokens. So that's the core 3 features that you'll be able to sort of utilize, experiment, and test. And we look forward to sort of any feedback that we may get from that. So that's all from me. That was fairly quick, but thank you for the opportunity to share that with you all today.
Thank you, Ricky. That was awesome, and I think it's super valuable for a lot of people to see what's coming, and those that missed the core call, now you got the scoop. So the next thing on the agenda is I'm going to share one of my windows again. All right. All right, next thing on the agenda is Luma. So a lot of people are asking, hey, where do I see where all these events are? Because sometimes we have people on site in different places in the world. Sometimes there's Discord calls. Sometimes there's YouTube streams. Sometimes there's X calls, whatever. And a great place to see that is actually the this master Luma page. And it doesn't show my QR code thing for it. Here, I'll paste the QR code in the chat, and maybe it can. 1 second. I'll share the chat with or I'll share.
It isn't showing your.
I'm just sharing the link with you, and if
okay, let me add it.
Okay. Because I tried doing the Brave QR code thing, but it doesn't. I don't think it actually shows it on the stream for people to scan it.
Oh, I see. No, maybe not.
But I shared the URL in the restream chat. But yeah, there's this master Luma page that's going to be used for tracking all events. We're going to do our best to maintain things in the Discord and such. But I definitely encourage you all to subscribe to it so you get all these things in your calendar, because there might be events that you can attend, maybe one close to you. So definitely subscribe to this Luma calendar. And another thing is the contributor board. So we've those of you who have heard about the community board, this has turned into something that is actually kind of going to be kind of like a contributor framework and just how we manage GitHub issues within the organization itself, as far as the Midnight GitHub organization. So I just want to give you a scoop of some of the changes that have been coming. So if I go to the contributor board here, so something to know. I'm sorry if you guys hear something in the background too, but the community hub is now the contributor hub. So a lot of things that have happened here. If we go to, let's say, community hub, this repository is now the contributor hub. So just in case anyone gets confused about that, and it's basically for issues for people looking to contribute. So there's custom issues in here as far as content proposals, DApp proposals, feature requests and suggestions. However, all these issues are actually being changed right now. So I'll actually go to my fork of it. And those of you who have been familiar with the community board, it was kind of like you propose a DApp example that you want to see or you want to work on, or someone else to contribute to or collaborate with on it. And that would eventually go to like a grab and go board where it actually goes to work. But this grab and go board's actually closed out now. So, but yeah, so let me show you guys some of the overhauling that's going on here. So instead of like really complex, I guess not complex, maybe power user markdown files that are a little confusing, the contributor hub's actually going to have a nicer, much nicer issues. So I'm on my fork because this is still in the works. But now when people have a DApp proposal, it's going to go into a nice form, not just overstimulating huge markdown file that you have to edit yourself, but go into something that's kind of like a quality DApp proposal. It's almost like a minimum viable product requirement. And the cool thing here is, because I know there's a lot of people that are working on ideas, so you can select in here like, hey, I just have an idea, and for an example DApp, and you could do that. Or hey, I'm building this and looking for feedback. So if you're building an example DApp, you can create this issue of your example, and we're happy to give some feedback on it as well. Or maybe you're looking for people to build with you, and hey, maybe you just want to reach out to the Midnight team about this example application, or etc. So that's cool. And then another thing that's coming is when we talk about feature requests, because we had some feedback on where the community hub was going. So this one's pretty cool too, because this is a nice way to propose features, because we had a feature request because Midnight is still in the process of open sourcing, and ideally issues should be made on the respective repositories. But sometimes there's features which you don't know where they go. So that's where the contributor hub repo is a great way to propose features. But in the beginning of the feature issue now, we're gonna, make sure we ask like, hey, is this like a token standard or a core protocol change? Maybe that should be a Midnight improvement proposal or an MRC token standard issue in the MIPs repo. Or hey, like if you talking about something that's a documentation change, maybe you should go to the Midnight docs repo for that. So this feature request issue specifically in the contributor hub repository is just first trying to get the issue in the best place possible. But if it does not qualify for this filter, then obviously go ahead and create a feature request. Cool. And so that's that. And then another thing that's coming is the documentation. We don't want to do documentation issues in the community hub repo anymore. So it redirects you directly to the Midnight docs repository. And yeah, so that's also coming as well. I could go into the flow diagram of the contributor hub, but let me see if I can do that. I want to tell you guys where this is all going as well. Just waiting for my document to load so I can get the image. And I don't know if you guys hear background noise. If you do, I'm sorry about that. But I have.
We do, but it's very charming.
Okay. Yeah, he's this is the working remote experience, but he's dealing with he's being taken care of. All right. I'm trying to get this. Okay, I think I need to open it in this window. Let's see. There's nothing sensitive in here. So this is kind of where we're going. This is all going to be open source from an organizational level on Midnight. And there's some cool ideas which were like super awesome for this. So I remember we proposed Community Hub before, but this is totally revamping it. So we ideally want to have a system where issues are going to be properly aggregated so that we can see like what are the bugs, what are the features, what are the enhancements, and also how we can more easily enable contributors and also manage those issues. Because at the end of the day, we're going to be working GitHub. That's where the devs are, that's where the commits are, that's where we're merging code. So the way this is working is the end goal is we're going to have like an engineering overview board, a public one, where we can see, hey, what are all the bugs in the repos? What are all the features and what are the enhancements, and prioritize those. And another thing we have is the contribution board. That's where you have we're able to have like DApp example issues and stuff within that contributor hub repository. But wouldn't it be cool to aggregate within the organization all the first issues and help wanted issues, to help make it easier for people who are looking to contribute to go do issues, contribute to them, and be attributed for that contribution. That's really cool. For example, Samson, who's who's also part of the DevRel team. As some of you know, and we already have a bunch of issues on the contribution board related to it, but there's Hacktoberfest going on. I'm not sure if it's ending this week because it's like an October event, but I think like a lot of people did Hacktoberfest before, or Samson did Hacktoberfest before. He's like, oh yeah, this is how we did it before. We labeled everything for Hacktoberfest, like in GitHub. And I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Because people can just go to issues and search for that label within the GitHub org or repo and do those issues and be attributed for it for the Hacktoberfest event. So in the future, you can imagine like, hey, if in the future hackathon, we could probably have the contributions board, and if it's aggregating all the good first issues, all the help wanted stuff, we can have hackathons and other events where it's like, hey, yeah, just go to the contributions board and go close some first issues, and that could be part of a hackathon track, for example, and it should be really cool. But yeah, there's a lot of details within this flow, but this is kind of like where we're going with how we're going to manage issues, and we hope it makes a good impact. But obviously, if you have feedback, the Contributor Hub repo is open source, so you can also comment and give feedback on this as well. Yeah, I hope that gives a little rundown. And what else is on the agenda for today? That's kind of it. So yeah, I want to thank you all for your time on that. And maybe, I don't know if we have any comments or anything that need to be addressed.
We've gotten some positive feedback for sure. Let's see if we have questions. 2 more days to submit PRs, according to Jay, for Hacktoberfest. But the reviews will continue if we have more that come in, of course. I know that we're actively working on a couple to make sure that they get credit.
Yeah. And I don't know if the person's watching, but Hacktoberfest brought someone who made a big PR for the indexer too, so it was pretty awesome.
Maybe what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There. Yeah. We hear you, and yeah, we definitely want to celebrate everyone's contributions.
Hey, did the Luma link that I sent? I know the first link didn't work. Did the second link work for everyone? I'm gonna double check that. We have a bunch of stuff happening over the course of the next 2 weeks, by the way. So definitely pay attention to the Luma. That's why I'm asking, because we have so much content coming everyone's way. Educational content, workshops, intermediate, beginner, advanced. We have a storage workshop coming. We have an academy launch. We have a compact workshop, and Jay's doing some AMAs, some office hours. So any sort of question you have, you can bring. Oh, it's working. Excellent. Excellent. Thank you for
Yeah, it worked for me as well. Thank you.
Wonderful. So yeah, we're trying to pack your calendars with content. And Steb, you're doing one next Tuesday.
Yep.
Is your node running? Which I just love.
Yeah, the theme of it is your node running? And if it is, then I guess you better go catch it.
I guess.
I gotta use like some AI to take the Grinch, the Jim Carrey Grinch voice, and maybe say that thing. That'd be so funny.
I think that should happen.
This looks like a feature calendar from what I can see as well. So, and then we have the real in-person event, I suppose, the Midnight Summit as well, which I'm looking forward to.
We do. We have an event, our first ever, our inaugural. This was a really hard word for me to say, but first ever Midnight Summit happening mid-November. So yeah, we are on the road to Summit, if you will, and so just trying to pack the days full of content, get everyone building, and get builders inspired before then. And yeah, join our Discord. Let me add a link to that if you're not there. Join. What else? The forum. Ask your questions there. Zeely questing. Got a lot of questing happening right now. Zeely
Because
quest.
it's definitely an exciting time to
Yeah.
be involved with the Midnight Network. I know that there's going to be many more announcements coming about, before the end of the year. As you can see, the environment strategy. So we've got scavenger mines. So lots of activities going on. And we sort of appreciate all the feedback we're receiving as well, because definitely informing what we do and the sort of information we share. Because this is my first Fireside Dev Hang. So
is it? Oh my goodness.
Indeed.
Wow, you're such a pro. It didn't feel like your first time. Excellent.
So
Ricky, my goodness, thanks for joining.
No, you're very welcome. So now I'm happy to join more, and
please,
people want to hear more about how we're contributing to the Midnight Network here at Shielded. I'm happy to share that info as well with you guys.
It's an important partnership. One might say the most. Yes. Okay, cool. All right, so we're good agenda-wise. We can kind of wrap things up for today.
Yeah, it looks like it. I don't see any other pressing questions. So
okay.
Yeah. Thank you everybody for your time.
All right. Well, thank you everyone. We'll see you next week. We'll see you tomorrow for another workshop, compact workshop and an AMA happening tomorrow.